fictional art for entertainment.
Usually, when you're handed a medical diagnosis, there's a certain expectation of precision. It's treated almost like mechanical engineering in a way.
Right. You expect it to be very cut and dry.
Exactly. You fall, you break your arm, the doctor puts you in front of an x-ray machine, and there is that stark, jagged white line right across the bone.
Very visible.
Right. The doctor points to it, and the narrative is entirely clean, broken or not broken. You put a cast on it, and you wait 6 weeks.
And we find an immense amount of comfort in that binary structure, I think. Human beings just naturally gravitate toward categorization because visibility equals control. If we can see the fracture on a backlit screen, we can define the parameters of the problem, and more importantly, we can define the parameters of the solution.
But the moment you step out of orthopedics and into the realm of neurodevelopment...
Oh, yeah. That's a whole different game.
It really is. You start talking about executive function, processing speeds, cognitive mapping, that entire clean backlit x-ray machine just completely shattered.
Just
And you brought us an incredibly rich sci-fi universe today to explore. And what immediately stands out is that we are looking at a diagnostic landscape that is entirely hopelessly opaque.
It is the absolute definition of diagnostic muddy waters.
Yeah.
And that is exactly where the architecture of the society we're looking at today attempts to impose this artificial catastrophic order onto something inherently organic and messy.
Which makes this the perfect entry point for what we're doing today. So welcome to a brand new session of Ambassador Alex's Book Club. We are so thrilled to have you sitting down with us.
Glad you're here.
Think of us as your most dedicated, fiercely analytical book club members, because today we are taking an incredibly in-depth, meticulous dive into the audio podcast chapters of this phenomenal, ongoing sci-fi narrative.
Because the universe constructed here really demands a rigorous level of scrutiny.
Oh, absolutely.
The world building is so dense and the societal implications are so meticulously crafted that, honestly, skimming the surface would just be a disservice to the text.
Right, you can't just casually consume this.
Yeah. No, you really have to pull apart the layers, the sociology, the mechanics, the psychology to see how the machinery of this civilization actually operates.
So let's unpack the mission for today's session. We're going to divide and conquer the source material to give you the most comprehensive analysis possible.
Divide and conquer. I like it.
I am going to take the micro approach. My entire focus today is intensely zoomed in on the human element. Specifically, I want to trace the psychological and physical journey of our protagonist, Alex Green.
The man himself.
Yeah, we're going to look at his deeply personal experience of navigating severe neurodivergence, specifically ADHD and dyslexia, inside a world that just refuses to offer even a millimeter of accommodation.
And while you examine the internal landscape of the protagonist, I will be taking the macro approach.
And there's the big picture.
Exactly. My objective is to examine the echo of this universe. We need to dissect the algorithmic reverberations, the incredibly rigid logic systems, and this overarching, honestly suffocating technological bureaucracy that governs absolutely every breath these citizens take. It is. We're going to map out the massive invisible architectures of control that dictate who thrives and who is completely discarded.
The human heart colliding with the cold machine.
I love it.
So to do this, our discussion today covers the critical foundation laid down in Chapter 1, which is titled Working Around the Glitches, and Chapter 2, Gut Feeling Over a Manual.
2 incredible chapters.
Right.
We've got our work cut out for us.
We really do. But before we jump the transport to Sector 483, we have some vital housekeeping to cover for the club.
Let's get the logistics sorted.
For those of you tracking the release schedule with us, new chapters of the Ambassador Alex story are posted consistently every single Monday at 7 p.m. Mark your calendars, set an alarm, block out the time, Monday, 7 p.m.
And we also want you to be an active participant in this review. Right now, take a second to give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah, whichever way you lean.
Exactly. Whatever your genuine reaction is to the material and the discussion, that engagement directly supports the project and really helps the community grow.
Also, if you haven't looked at the podcast description yet, you are missing out on a massive piece of the world building.
Oh, the playlists.
The playlists. The channel has curated these phenomenal custom music and art playlists. They serve as an incredible immersive companion to the audio chapters.
Listening.
It really is. So check those out and, of course, hit subscribe to show your support for the ongoing narrative.
Logistics are secured. Let's begin dissecting the foundational trauma of this universe. We are looking at a civilization that possesses the raw technological power to terraform distant, hostile colonies. They build sentient synthetic beings to farm for them. They have faster-than-light logistics.
They're basically gods.
Exactly. Why, in a society with that much power, is a basic neurological pattern-shifting algorithm locked away behind a firewall?
Right. It makes no sense for it to be scarce. It's just code.
It isn't naturally scarce. It is artificial scarcity. This is a society designed from the ground up for absolute corporate and bureaucratic control. By deliberately locking the cure for neurodivergence behind elite healthcare walls, the system intentionally cripples a portion of its own population. If Alex had possessed that 47's chip from birth, his processing speed would have aligned perfectly with their interfaces.
He would have been fine.
He would have never been deemed an operational liability. He would have never been assigned a state of exclusion, which means his suffering was entirely manufactured by policy, not by biology. The state needs a lower class to operate the machine meteors, so it creates one by withholding accessibility.
Man, that realization makes what happens next feel so rebellious, so dangerously, desperately necessary.
Enter Penny.
Enter Penny. We are fully submerged into the underground events of Chapter 3 now. Penny contacts Alex entirely off the books. She is operating a clandestine black market clinic in the shadows of the transit hub, and she offers to donate an older, discarded Aria 47's chip directly to him.
It is the ultimate act of black market accessibility, taking the hoarded tools of the elite and distributing them in the shadows.
And the sensory details of this clinic scene are just incredible. The author grounds the sci-fi tech in such gritty reality, you could practically feel the tension vibrating in the room.
It's palpable.
Alex walks into this hidden clinic, and it doesn't smell like a sterile, brightly lit hospital. It smells like the sharp tang of ionized ozone, expensive peppermint, and old pennies.
Real physical smells.
He is sitting on the edge of a cold bioglass table, and his leg is bouncing in that classic irregular, unstoppable ADHD rhythm. He is terrified of the illegal procedure, but he is so tired of fighting his own brain.
The text perfectly captures the exhaustion of having to run twice as fast just to stay at the very back of the pack.
Exactly. He notes internally that it takes him 4 hours of grueling focus to learn what his neurotypical peers absorb in 1 hour. He just wants the internal noise to stop.
So Penny prepares the procedure.
And it is shockingly, disturbingly simple. There is no massive surgery. It is just a cold pinprick right behind his left ear as the microscopic 47's chip weaves its way directly into the neural pathways of his prefrontal cortex.
But while she is performing this incredibly intimate procedure, we get the massive narrative-shifting lore drop of the entire series.
Oh, yes.
Through Penny, the true depth of the hegemony's corruption is completely exposed.
Oh, this part absolutely blew my mind. Alex, sitting there, asks the most logical question. He asks her, if the procedure is this simple, just a pinprick, why am I sitting in a back alley workshop? Why doesn't everyone get a cognitive bridge?
And Penny first explains the official propaganda. She recites the official line from the government, which dictates that if this cognitive upgrade were widely shared, humanity would become complacent.
So they claim it's for our own good.
The government claims that people would stop focusing on moving forward if their minds were perfectly stabilized. It is the classic textbook authoritarian lie. The elite must enforce suffering on the masses to ensure the progress of the species.
But then she leans in. The environment gets very quiet, and she drops the absolute truth.
She tells him to look at the underlying math of the technology. These medical implants, the Aria 47 series, they do not just organize thoughts. They don't just fix dyslexia or smooth out executive dysfunction.
Right.
When they interface with the prefrontal cortex, they optimize the body's entire metabolic load. They fundamentally stabilize cellular decay at the chromosomal level.
Meaning they stop aging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By reducing neurological oxidative stress and perfectly regulating the endocrine system, they extend the human lifespan dramatically. Penny reveals that the leaders of the hegemony, the architects of this rigid, unforgiving society, the ones who banished Alex to a rock, well, they aren't just aging gracefully.
No, they're not.
They are over 120 years old and still operating with the cognitive plasticity of 20-year-olds.
It is sickening. It recontextualizes everything we read in Chapter 1. They are literally hoarding lifespan.
Hoarding time itself.
Yeah, they're hoarding cognitive perfection and functional immortality for themselves while actively tossing brilliant kids like Alex onto grinding machine meteors because of a smudged barcode.
It's pure exploitation.
The rules of the system the 17-year pipelines, the 0.04% error margins. It is all exposed as a complete sham. It has never been about societal efficiency. It has always been about elite preservation. They enforce artificial scarcity to maintain their immortal grip on power.
And once that illusion is shattered for Alex, the system loses its moral authority over him entirely. He is no longer a citizen trying to appease a benevolent machine. He is a survivor of a predatory system.
Right. His whole worldview flips.
Which perfectly sets the stage for his psychological and physical transformation the very moment that chip activates.
Oh, the activation sequence gave me genuine chills. The Tros here is electric.
It's beautifully written.
The second the 47th chip fully integrates into his cortex, the physical world entirely shifts for Alex. The holographic data stream projecting on the clinic wall, which just seconds ago was a jumbled, combative argument of light, suddenly snaps into perfect, effortless, crystalline clarity.
The lifetime of internal static is just instantly gone.
He describes the physical sensation of the pressure dropping. For the very first time in his entire life, he reads the top line of a scrolling manual, and his eyes do not jump.
He doesn't have to fight it.
He doesn't have to fight to carve meaning out of the chaos. The information is just there, clear, steady. And the emotional release in this moment is profound. It's not just a cool sci-fi upgrade. It's the lifting of a lifelong weight.
A literal weight off his mind.
He breathes out, his shoulders drop, and he says, "No wonder everyone at the university seemed to have time to live. It took me 4 times as long just to keep up."
It is the ultimate validation of his entire existence. In that single sentence, the narrative absolves him. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't broken. He wasn't an operational liability. He was running a marathon underwater while everyone else was running on dry pavement. The chip didn't make him smarter, it just removed the water.
I love that. And Petty looks at him, sitting there marveling at a simple string of text. She gives him this knowing, playful smirk and asks, "How does it feel, Captain?"
Acknowledging his new power.
And Alex, realizing he now possesses total sovereignty over his own mind and his environment, replies with such quiet confidence, "In my greenhouse, I'm the captain." He's no longer the victim of the algorithm. He is the master of his domain.
But this profound moment of clarity brings a massive coming storm.
Yeah, we can't get too comfortable.
The narrative doesn't let us rest on this victory. Before he leaves the clinic, Penny gives him a very specific warning. She says, "Your next assignment might be more challenging."
Let's unpack this warning. Because on the micro level, looking just at Alex's immediate survival, I am terrified for him.
The stakes are incredibly high now.
If the hegemony system audits his biometric hardware, if Unit 74 PM runs a do scan, they will instantly see the illegal elite-tier chip in his brain.
That is the immediate physical danger to his person, yes. But if we expand our view and connect this to the macro level, the threat is actually inverted.
What do you mean?
The system isn't the primary danger to Alex anymore. Alex is the danger to the system.
Wait, I'd argue it goes even deeper. How is one guy with a patched brain a threat to a planetary hegemony?
Think about the variables that govern this universe. The system marginalized Alex because it couldn't measure him. His brain was chaotic, tactile, and analog in a digital world.
Right.
But what happens when you take a neurodivergent mind, a mind with this incredible innate ability to read the tactile flow of the universe, a mind that can spot a 0.54 centimeter physical misalignment purely by feeling a vibration?
Oh, wow.
And you completely remove its only barrier.
You remove the dyslexia, you remove the executive dysfunction, you remove the exhaustion.
Exactly. You give him absolute frictionless clarity. A fully unhindered, cognitively optimized Alex Green is a variable that the algorithm has absolutely no defense against.
You can't predict him.
He is no longer just adapting his tactile skills to survive the system's margins. He is evolving completely beyond its control parameters.
Because he retains the deep, intuitive empathy of an old soul machine, but now he possesses the rapid, flawless processing speed of the hegemony elite. He has the best of both evolutionary branches.
Precisely. And an algorithmic governance system, one that strictly relies on a predictable 0.04% margin of error to maintain its power, cannot survive true, highly intelligent unpredictability.
It breaks their whole model.
The system relies on everyone acting exactly as their data profile predicts. Alex's data profile is now entirely obsolete. He is the ultimate unpredictable variable operating inside their most vital infrastructure.
That is equally terrifying and exhilarating for the narrative moving forward. He isn't just going to fix the malfunctioning pipes in the greenhouse. He is going to conceptually dismantle the entire machine meteor. He has the tools to unmake the system from the inside out.
It forces us, and you listening right now, to really look at the core philosophy of this fictional universe and perhaps reflect on the architectures of our own reality. Which brings us to a final provocative thought I want to leave everyone with as we wrap up this analysis.
I love these. Give us the final thought to chew on until next week.
In a highly advanced, fiercely utilitarian society that ruthlessly engineers itself toward a 0% margin of error, are the glitches, the smudged barcodes, the transposed numbers, the neurodivergent minds, the only true source of innovation left.
Wow.
If a civilization successfully engineers out all of its human flaws, if it forces every single citizen to flawlessly read the standardized manual, does it also completely engineer out the capacity for intuition?
That is a staggering concept.
Yeah.
Because intuition is essentially born from not understanding the manual and having to guess.
Exactly. Growth requires friction. If a system is perfectly smooth, perfectly frictionless, nothing can ever take root.
Right. The soil's too hard.
Innovation simply does not happen when everything goes exactly according to the predictive diagnostic chart. Evolution happens when the letters dance, when the machines stutter, and when someone decides to throw away the simulated model and just feel the physical vibration of the pipes.
That is exactly what makes this ongoing story so phenomenal to read week after week. It starts with a clinical diagnosis of broken, and it is rapidly building toward the realization that the strongest, most resilient roots actually grow in the muddy waters. You need the friction, the messiness to grow beyond the boundaries of the pot.
An incredibly apt metaphor for his greenhouse setting.
Well, on that incredible expansive note, I want to deeply thank you for joining us for this session of Ambassador Alex's Book Club. It has been an absolute blast tearing apart the psychological and systemic layers of these chapters with you.
A truly fascinating exploration into a narrative that refuses to offer easy answers.
Before we officially sign off, just a final reminder of our book club housekeeping. The Ambassador Alex story posts brand new, thrilling audio chapters every single Monday at 7 p.m. Make it part of your weekly routine because you do not want to fall behind on this lore.
And please, if you found value in this analysis, take a second right now to give this review a thumbs up. Or, if you completely disagreed with our take on the warehouse analogy or the nature of the 47's chip, give it a thumbs down.
Yeah, let us know.
Your engagement directly supports this ongoing project and lets us know how the community is interpreting the text.
And do not forget to check the podcast description below. Click those links to explore the channel's custom music and art playlists.
It's an
Trust me,
experience.
it really is. And finally, hit that subscribe button to ensure you are back here sitting with us for the next book club session. Because, as Penny warned us, the next assignment is going to get incredibly challenging.
Keep questioning the manual, everyone.
We will see you next time.
Dreaming with Eyes Open, Storydoy.